joins us in the press room. Driver of the Screaming Eagle, Vance and Hines. I wanted to play you the interview from last week, just so you make sure you get it
awesome.
Okay, there we go. Rider of the Screaming Eagle, Vance and Hines Harley V-Run, 21st career win, first of the season. Obviously, your teammate was in this room and in this position last week. Just how big is this for Eddie Krawiec and for the team?
Oh, it's huge. You know, obviously coming into the season with the rule change and having to overcome getting an engine and an engine package competitive out here was our first feat, you know, to try and conquer. And we did. We, as I've told most people, we won the big fight. Now we got to fight the little one, and the little one is racing rounds and getting competitive throughout the year. And that's the hard one, because it's easy to show up to a race, but it's hard to be competitive. A lot of great motorcycles out here, a lot of great competition. My hat goes off to Matt Smith. You know, I want to recognize that first and foremost, because, you know, I got told he was getting pushed to go into the water box before I got there, and he opted to wait, and he said he wanted to wait and race. And, you know, Matt's a very intense competitor, a very good racer, and for him to do that, you know, it shows you how we have respect for one another out here. And you know, you're in the countdown. I want to see two vehicles go down the track. I'm sure the fans do. So my hat goes off to him for doing that out of respect and everything. It shows you the type of competitor that he is. Going further into that, you know, this weekend I was riding great, but I wasn't racing good. And you know, Alan, yourself, you understand that as a bracket racing ranks. You know, you can have a great car, but if you're not driving that starting line and doing your job, it's really a struggle. And we've changed our clutch setup and changed our bike a little bit, and I think it might be hurting me a smidge on the starting line. I think I'm giving up a few hundredths when I go to hit the tree, because I don't think the bike moves as much, and it winds up and it goes. We've had great 60 foots, great front half numbers. Now we just got to work on the horsepower and get our back halves there, because I think if we can continue to keep the pace that we're going with and improve on the back half, I think you're going to see our Harleys sitting up front.
Obviously, it's going to come up, so I'm going to bring it up. Tell me about the first round.
I'll be honest with you. I struggled a bit. I mean, it was a race at that point, and you know, we have been having issues. We're dealing with other problems with the bike, and I mean, honestly, it's luck. A lot of luck went my way this weekend, and I'm just happy to be here, all in all, in the end.
Why were you late for the final?
You kept trying to ask me that. Alan's like, why were you late? Mechanical problem? We had a big issue there against Michael Ray in the second round. Electrical gremlin. Don't quite know what's going on with the bike. Ran the semis, bike ran great, everything. Came back to the pits, went through some things, and I was getting ready to put the clutch cover on, and the way it seals up, the O-ring breaks and it falls off. So now I got to take everything apart, go through, get the clutch cover to seal back up again. If I hadn't caught that, who knows? You know, the engine probably wouldn't have had vacuum, and chances are I probably wouldn't have got it by 1/6 of a second. Just a little mechanical issue, so, you know, I had to pull the clutch cover apart, go through, and you gotta, when you're setting up the clutch, you gotta check your clutch switch, check a couple different things, and it just added time. So, you know, it ended up throwing like a 5-7 minute little wrench in our mix. But, you know, lucky enough, I was able to come up here, and like I said, Matt Smith was willing to wait and hang out for us, and you know, I'm just excited to be peaking right at this point of time. You know, we've struggled all year long. I've rode a lot better early on in the season on the starting line, but I feel I'm riding off the starting line and down track great. I just got to work on my front half numbers. So if I can get my reaction times where I want them and be racing better is probably the best way to say it. I think I'm going to give these guys a run for the money.
In qualifying, Hector put a run on the board that stunned me and most of the other guys that I talked to. I mean, was that one of those runs that impresses even the other teams? I'm
going to be honest. We saw that run and we were like, well, let's just race for second. You know, I mean, it's like reality of it is there's no reason to even let that get in your head. You know, and honestly, I think it does do that to some teams. We just looked at it and we said, we can't run that. So let's just run our own race. Let's just qualify and let's try to qualify second. And hopefully he beats himself, and that's the way we look at it, because sometimes when you have the bike to beat, it puts pressure on you. And I know this was actually his anniversary. I think this is his 4-year anniversary of not winning a race, and I'm sure it's probably weighing on him a little bit. It weighs on all of us. I mean, man, I'll be honest, I was like, am I ever going to win a race? This was getting tough, but great competition out there. It's really looking good, and I like the way the field's all tight.
Last year, this was the one race that got away. You think Texas owed you one?
Man, I'll tell you, when we saw Texas on the schedule again, we were like, damn, it's on there. And it's on there every year. We love coming here. I'll tell you, the Texas fans are awesome. We have so much support out here, and at the end of the day, we've just never done well at this track. We've sucked. To sum it up, we've sucked at this track every time. Vance and Hines has never, we've struggled since we've brought the Harley program. We haven't won here. So, I told Andrew before we left the shop for Charlotte, I said, Drew, I feel really confident we're winning at least 2 of the next 4. And he's like, well, let's hope you're right. So I'm hoping I'm wrong, and we're going to win 4 of the next 4. It's like, for us, and I don't want to sound greedy, I think we're confident. We're confident as racers. Even going to Gainesville, whatever it is, you got to have that confidence in you, and you got to go to every race to win. And that's the way we try to plan it, and hopefully, we can just continue to move forward.
But you're a guy who can excel. You've learned you can excel even when you don't win races. So is that a good thing?
Yeah, I think so. If a lot of other teams, and I can't speak for them, but I think if a lot of other teams were in our position, I don't know if they would have got that as far as we have in this amount of time. I mean, it's been a long, rough road. I'm glad it happened, and I'm glad to be a part of it for the way it is, because I think it brings a whole new appreciation back to our camp, and it sort of reshifts your focus. It makes you drive harder, and I think as long as you're one of those people that when you're down, you drive and you go after it harder, you can be successful.
Matt said he thought that you guys discovered something at Sonoma. Was that has helped you now? Is that the turning point for you, do you think? Yeah,
our bikes really started running better. We've been struggling with the tune-up and just finding consistency, and we showed here today that our bike can go consistent down the track when it's running or not shutting off. It's going, and it's actually making consistent laps. At least mine is. Andrew's is not at the point we want it. It's still a few hundred slow, but we're working to get it there, and hopefully by the next race we'll be able to have 2 Harleys, running just right up there in the front. And for us, it's a challenge, and it's been a fun challenge.
You had said at the beginning of the year that you thought it would be like Englishtown mid-season when your bikes would start coming alive, and they didn't, and now they are. So I mean,
it sounds really odd, but our pretty much pitfall was when we got to Chicago, and Andrew and I both almost didn't qualify, or 15 and 16 qualifier, and we're like, man, this is about as rough as it gets. And we got back to the shop, and we just dug and dug and dug, and we were like, we need to go to Norwalk with something. And we tuned ourselves backwards for a while, and we started getting in this funk that we weren't seeing. We're making more horsepower. The dyno's telling us we're making more horsepower, but we're not showing it on the track. We're better than what we are. And finally, when we got our heads out of our rears on that, it started coming around, and we just had to focus on the tune-up and get everything squared away. And I think ever since we've done that, our luck has changed.
Anything else? I've got one more. I asked your teammate this last week. I'm going to ask you. There were a lot of people that said, if those guys can win races playing by the same rules, I'll be the first one to go congratulate them. How many have?
Not a whole lot. Some people have come by our truck, but in the end, the greatest thing is we're walking home with the wallet and we get to smile. So, we'll rise to the top again. Trust me. I'm looking forward to that day, to where you can just go out there and, like Jason Line, beat up on all your competitors and smile about it.